We've received a special request.
Hey, heard about your little spat with Id. Wish I still had that kind of energy.
Eugen gave me a hearty slap between the shoulder blades.
The chills I got when watching them. Man, they were going all out.
Of course Vern had told everybody. I could appreciate honesty and openness throughout the crew, but I clearly needed to have a talk with that dragon about minding his own business.
So you're jealous Lyria's making new friends? What, do you have a crush or something?
Yo, don't be silly. That's not what this was about at all.
As Lyria tried to explain the situation, I just kind of sniffed and shuffled my feet. It had been a wild ride, but things were finally back to normal. I couldn't get the duel with Id out of my mind. He had been a perfect storm, placing his whole heart behind every blow. I had to remember what I was fighting for to even stand a chance. To be honest, I still don't think I'm stronger than him. I won this battle, yeah, but both of us are still changing, still growing. Who knows how it'll turn out if there's a next time. But I doubt we'll ever need to fight like that again. Id trusts me now. I can feel that just as much as I felt the shock of his sword clashing against mine. Trust is nice, but it always comes with responsibility. Still, that's the weight I signed up to carry when I became captain of the Grand Cipher, and took Lyria's hand all that time ago.
We really don't get a break.
For sure. It felt like everybody in Zega Grande had a job for Mr. Fix-It. Today's request? Just taking down a monster that can demolish a small village with a sneeze. No biggie. Vern, could you get us some potions?
You betcha! Liquid health coming right up!
Lyria, we're about to head out. Mind letting the rest of the crew know?
Sure, no problem.
I took a deep breath, letting it settle in my chest before releasing. We had a game plan, of course, but you never know how these things will go. Timing, coordination, everything had to be perfect.
You'll be fine. I trust you, and so does everyone else.
Id put a hand on my shoulder, and somehow that weight steadied me. We'd figure things out. We always did. I exchanged a nod with him, and we headed for the docks. The rest of the crew was already there, waving their arms in the air. From the smiles on their faces, you'd think we were going for a tropical vacation in Auguste. Well, either way, I was sure we'd all come out of it in one piece. We had a bright future ahead of us.
You think you know the sky and wind, but then you come to a foreign land, where unfamiliar songs on the air beckon you toward the unknown.
Catalina, where do you think this breeze is coming from?
The wind rustled Lyria's hair affectionately as she spoke. From somewhere far, far away. Much time has passed since Lyria and I escaped from the Erste Empire, and met the captain in the woods of Zinkenstill. I found myself thankful that the sky has no limit, because no matter how many journeys I've made at her side, there will always be more to look forward to. Lyria and I first crossed paths when I was still a knight of Erste, and she a tool in the Empire's mad experiments on dark essence. So you're Lyria. I was appointed to stay by her side as both captor and guardian. She reminded me of a beautifully crafted puppet, never moving or speaking unless commanded. Her expression was fixed, and her eyes were bright, but cold, as if made of glass. Moved to pity, I wanted at the very least to light a smile on her face. But I may as well have been talking to a doll. I couldn't find the part of her that was alive. It wasn't until many days had escaped us that I realized Lyria was a real girl with a feeling soul. She simply didn't know how to act like one. So, I taught her to laugh when she felt joy and cry when she felt sadness. Through books and reverie, I taught her to long for the outside world, and when colors on a page were no longer enough, I took her hand and led her to the roof of the military base. The illustrations Lyria had seen were lovely, but the sky now stretching above her was boundless and so luminous that it drew forth tears. And finally, her blue eyes shone, as if they were two patches of sky lit by a sun from within her. That sun melted my heart. There, with the open air as our witness, I made her a promise. Someday, we'll sail this endless world together. I swear it. As the bond between us grew, so did the cruelty of the experiments they performed on Lyria. Lyria doesn't belong here. No living creature does. The shining empire I served now became to me a place clouded by doubt. Day after day, a battle raged within me, between the knight loyal to her flag and the guardian who wanted to set a sad girl free. Then, one day, a memory of Lyria's response on the roof broke through like a clear ray of light.
Really? You'll show me this endless world?
I had made a vow. There was no more question where my allegiance lay. I took her hand once again, this time not to simply gaze at the sky, but to leap into it. And I did it for myself as much as I did it for her. Sometime after the commotion at Tempeal, life in Folca began to struggle towards normalcy. The breeze was soft and welcoming. I'd been blind to the city's charms before, focused as I was on rescuing Lyria from the Church of Avia. The sun watched over the victims of Furikin's rage as they raised new homes for themselves from the rubble. But once scars have set in, they are slow to fade. Here and there, the children of Tempeal labored with tools too large for their hands. I offered my aid, but the children said their work was their responsibility.
As long as you're sure you'll be okay.
Some distance away, a small boy burst into a red-faced fit. Lyria and I rushed over, hoping to be of help.
Don't try and stop me! I have to do this!
He hurled his words like stones as he whipped into a run. Concerned, I asked a nearby man about the boy. He explained that the boy's sister was ill, and the lad was after the remedy, an herb called windcrest. The sickness was assumed to have died out hundreds of years ago, but had now returned to torment the child.
And if that's not enough, I heard the woods where windcrest grows have turned into a monster den.
The boy had struck out alone. Folka had no soldiers to spare, for they were all dispatched to Tempeel for the reconstruction effort. No one was left to answer his pleas, but I would. In my heart, I vowed to bring back the child, and if possible, the herb too. I prayed only that I wasn't too late.
Leave the front line to me.
Well, according to that old villager, this is the place we want to be.
Perfect. Keep your eyes peeled for Windcrest. Earth spirits. Strange. We didn't see any the last time we were here.
Seems like they're attracted to the windcrest. Maybe they can feel its power.
Try this!
Come if you dare!
No!
Close call!
Step up!
No more!
I'll cut you all down!
Foam on the sea. Rain on the hills. Cross the
What's with the sand?
Stallions of fear! Into my web!
You've met your match!
On guard!
Swift as thought. Certain as death. Foam on the
Sacred winds!
Might have bitten off too much.
Yeah, that should be more than enough.
But we still haven't located the boy. What? Where is that coming from?
I don't know, but it can't be a good sign. We better hurry.
A golem!
So that's what was behind the tremors.
Crap, it spotted us! Get ready for a fight!
Spread your cover. No escape! Into the fray!
That's on our tails is so fun! Let's give ourselves some breathing room. It was pain. I heard Furikin's voice just now. I think that when Furikin covered this archipelago in storms, some of its power fused with the land and the monster.
Very well. Prepare yourself!
You can't stop Try to stop
Now!
Warrior baddies on our tails is no fun! Let's give ourselves some breathing room. Man, can I get some of that Furikin juice too? This golem is off!
We can't afford to let it run free. Not while that boy remains missing.
We'll be ready.
Nice balls.
You monster! This isn't the end. I'm coming!
The time is right.
Hit them now!
Show no mercy.
Keep focused.
Of course. Understood.
Okay, I'll take the vanguard.
Understood. Sorry. Not careless.
Winter spray!
You face the fight of the White Dragon!
Please prepare yourself!
Come, my friends.
Is it safe now?
I recognize that voice. With a final death knell, the golem stilled. The boy crawled out from the tall grass, and I pressed the wind crest into his trembling hand.
Wow! Now I can save my sister! You're the best, lady!
He smiled at me, and with a great burden lifted from his shoulders, skipped the whole way back to Folka. As I watched his happy shuffle, I wished more joy and color into his life of toil, which had been covered by the dust of destruction.
We've received a special request.
We made medicine from the wind crest you picked. The doctor said Hazel looks better every day. This morning, she was able to get out of bed and do some drawing. She loves drawing pictures. Thanks again, Catalina. From Al.
And Hazel.
P.S. Please visit Folka when you have a chance.
Another letter from Al arrived. Hazel had fully recovered and was bouncing about with unbridled energy. Al had returned to work on the reconstruction site and was working twice as hard to make up for lost time.
Is it just me, or is his writing messier?
It wasn't just Vern. Not only were there more missing words and misspellings than usual, the lines of Al's letters were harsh and tangled. Evidently, he'd scrawled them in a great hurry between jobs.
I got a bad feeling that next up, it's gonna be Al himself stuck in bed.
I shared Vern's sentiment. This was a boy willing to pick herbs from death's very garden for his sister. There was not an ounce of self-restraint in his character. I could only hope that he would emerge from this trial unscathed. Reading Al's third letter made my head buzz and my hands go numb.
Help! Hazel got sick again. Doctor says you don't know what's happened. The medicine we made don't work no more. What do we do?
It struck me that I, a Skyfarer they had only met once, was all the help these children had left to turn to.
Adelina, I'm worried about Hazel.
Lyria, who had been reading over my shoulder, looked as pale as death, and I thought I heard the fierce thudding of her heart. Let's head back to Folka, quickly. We learned not long afterwards that the captain, who at times seemed to command a sixth sense, had already asked Rackham to set course for the city. Al, Hazel, don't lose hope. Help is on the way. When we arrived at Folka, Al came out to greet us. I noticed he wouldn't meet any of our eyes and ducked his head like he was hiding from the world. The doctor had examined Hazel from head to toe, but as far as his eyes could tell, there was nothing wrong with her.
Hazel says all she needs to get better is some Wraithring eggs, but I just don't know.
Al's voice was so small, I could hear the distance between us. Not physical, but emotional. He explained reluctantly that the Wraithwing was a bird which lives among the ancient ruins of Dali Island.
Actually, forget it. We've made you guys do too much already. We'll figure something out.
His smile didn't quite reach his eyes, which were enclosed in dark circles. The reconstruction effort must have been hounding him, and he was apparently not its only victim. Hazel had fallen ill around when Al began overexerting himself. I think I see what's going on here. Gently pushing aside Al's objections, we left to search for a Wraithwing nest. The task ahead, though dangerous, was for brother as much as it was for sister.
Well, shall we head out?
This area seems promising. Be on the lookout for tracks. This is quite a rare find. We'd better add it to our provisions. It may come in useful later. What's this?
This cargo's sure been roughed up.
Large talon marks and scattered feathers. The culprit is probably a Wraithwing.
Let's see if it's left any other tracks.
That's it. It matches the description perfectly. That's our Wraithwing.
Ah! What's with all the party crashers?
Stay calm. I'll get us out of this.
Right.
Scatter! That was great!
I'm in full agreement.
Sure did.
Push forward!
That's it?
Cut them down!
Perfect sync.
Yep. Keep it up.
Light wall! Into my trap! Meet your
Nice! Now come on! We've got a bird to catch! These stupid monsters don't quit! You red cat!
Always. I'll freeze them in their tracks.
no more! Prepare! I'll fit! Prepare yourself! They're open!
Show no mercy.
Take it from a fellow knight. That was sublime.
I'd be honored to train together when there's time.
I've got it.
Cut them down!
Our current path will lead to victory.
And we follow it to the end. I'm back up.
Hang on! I'm almost there!
Look, the bird. It's watching us really closely.
Whoa! Looks like it's got giant talons and a nest!
Stay calm, everyone.
Be careful, cat
Meet your
over
end.
It's all right, Fern. I won't let that overgrown turkey hurt us. Let's go.
I'm coming! I believe in you!
Back to it.
Into my web.
Lay on the hill. Vanessa.
You're mine! Don't move! I'll finish it!
Got it! You're a little
Enough of you! Feel the fight! Monster!
They shall pay for that. They've gone mad.
Proceeding with caution. You get
One fell blow!
One stroke. 1,000 deaths.
You're finished!
Butterfly.
Harry! You're mine!
Catalina.
I'll end them! Realm of Ice! Vandala!
At the ready.
It's trying to defend its nest. No wonder it's so desperate.
We're desperate too! People now are counting on us!
Understood.
Oh, we'll do more than that.
One fell blow. I am the unyielding devastation. No more. Forward.
Understood.
You have my blade. Strike now.
Understood.
I need your power.
Now we just need to search the nest and collect the eggs. I can't help feeling guilty, though.
We're so sorry, Miss Wraithwing. We promise we won't take more than we need.
Stay near. I'll protect you.
I took our prize to the dining hall. But weighing on me was the thought that Hazel had likely told Al a white lie. It said that one bite of a Wraithwing egg sends waves of energy coursing through your body. I guessed that she wanted the meal not for herself, but for her exhausted brother.
I'm so sorry.
My suspicions were confirmed when I returned from the canteen to find Hazel apologizing to the crew.
Catalina, we need to tell you something.
I cut Al off. I knew speaking the words would hurt him. It was better that he didn't give sound and substance to unnecessary guilt. I don't know what's troubling you, but you have to eat. It's the only way the two of you will get better. Food and comfort. That was all I could afford them.
Yeah? Alright! No. We've received a special request.
Back at the dining hall, plates of Wraithwing egg omelet were lined up on a table, wafting forth irresistible aroma.
Is that really for us?
At my nod, Al dug in.
Ow! Oh, burnt my tongue. But, so good.
I love it!
Muffled voices caught my attention, and I looked out the window to see a gathering crowd. Though I had only collected a basket of the famed eggs, it seemed that was enough to feed the whole city.
Hey, Al. Heard from your sister. Sorry, I should have noticed you were working yourself to the bone.
A man who seemed to be in charge of reconstruction efforts came to our table. Gently, he explained that he had only now been made aware of Al's failing health. He vowed to encourage the workers to rest, so no one would overexert themselves ever again.
Al, you okay, bud? You don't look so good.
Vern, who had been flitting carefree through the air, came to a sudden stop. I smiled at his concern, which was well-meaning but misplaced. Al was going to be fine now. It was time for a celebration, and I had the perfect surprise planned. Their reactions are going to be priceless. A light dessert is the perfect way to top off a hearty meal. Stealing my way into the kitchen, I cooked up an original dish using spare ingredients and imagination. When I unveiled my creation, the crew gulped in what I assume was anticipation. The people of Folka, however, were more vocal with their excitement.
You're saying that the very hand that defeated the Wraithwing made this dessert?
Is there anything she can't do?
It was enough to make me blush. But, if I may be so bold, I don't think their praise was unearned. My dish was wholly unique in its shape, color, and smell.
Catalina, this is amazing! I've never tasted anything like it before.
Encouraged by Lyria, every last diner snatched up their spoons. Hungrily, they lifted a bite to their lips. And the moment right after, as if someone had captured the scene in a painting, they all froze. There are times when people are so filled to the brim with emotion, not even the smallest physical movement is possible. For the diners, this was apparently one of those times. It seems I'm not such a bad chef after all. Take that, naysayers.
Piloting an airship ain't easy work, but whether it's plotting a windward course or conducting some routine maintenance, you can always count on experience and intuition. Ha! Just a little further! Finally, the Grand Cipher broke through the nebulous shadows and turbulent winds of the Grim Basin, and to greet us on the other end was our reward, the brilliant clear blue. It was a panoramic azure, dappled by silver-white clouds and gleaming from the light of a new day. Always an exhilarating sight to behold. Judging by the cries of celebration starting to spread across the deck, I took it my crewmates would agree. Damn, who'd have ever thought a young dreamer from Port Breeze would make it all the way out to these skies? The Grand Cipher and I, we'd gone through thick and thin together. It's a long story, but it all started on that fateful day I met the captain. I haven't looked back since. Right then, landing maintenance. Fuel stores, full. Engine, all clear. We were ready to disembark into the unknown. What awaited us in the Zeka Grande Skydom? As uneasy as I was, I couldn't help but feel a teensy bit giddy with excitement. Ah, the Grand Cipher. Ever since I found her abandoned behind a cliff, it was love at first sight. I was just a kid, but I had lofty dreams of repairing that ramshackle airship and taking her to the skies. Back then, I didn't know the difference between a porthole and port side, but I was determined. I dove into books bigger than my head, and I learned basic airship repair, helmsmanship, the whole kit and caboodle. After a ton of elbow grease, the day had come. The Grand Cipher was finally ready for a test flight. I still remember how my hands trembled as I grabbed the rudder. And wouldn't you know it, she actually lifted off the ground for me. Nothing quite like watching your first love take to the skies, is there? But before I could take it all in, my dreams came crashing down. I mean, literally. The Grand Cipher sunk like a damn meteor. 100 different things could have caused it, but that didn't matter. Years of work went kaput in the blink of an eye. Betrayed by the very skies I longed for, I was crushed. Looking back now, it sounds stupid, I know, but it really felt like I had nothing to live for. I put all my hopes into that hunk of scrap. Laugh if you want, but some pits are too deep to crawl out of, especially when you look up for freedom and all you see is the expansive crystal blue of your tormentor. Don't worry, my pity party wouldn't last for too much longer. You see, my dreams had crashed like a meteor.
But ironically enough, it was the meteoric rise of the Erste Empire that would bring the captain into my life. Salvation was on the horizon. Just as I'd given up on flying, the Earthstay Empire had arrived in Port Breeze, and they were hell-bent on exploiting our local protector, the primal beast of wind, Tiamat.
Their twisted machinations caused her to go on a rampage. Port Breeze was in peril. Fortunately, we had an ace up our sleeve, Lyria. Thing is, Lyria needed to get close to Tiamat, which meant we had to go up. And to go up, we needed to fly. Thought I'd already closed that chapter of my life when the skies betrayed me, but lives were on the line. Quick, get on the Grand Cipher! I don't know what got into me. She fell once before. Hell, I knew she might fall again. Nothing like a healthy fear of death to keep you grounded, eh? But the people of Port Breeze, and my new crewmates, had entrusted their fates to my piloting skills. My own fear was insignificant. All I needed to do was trust myself too. It's a damn shame it took me this long. But I'm back now, and ready to face the skies if you'll have me. As the Grand Cipher's engine purred to life, I knew I would no longer be encumbered by fear. I gripped the mast with pride as I set our course directly above to the rampaging Tiamat. Lyria quelled the primal beast, and catastrophe had been averted. Not to mention, I could finally dream again. Ever since that day, I've been the helmsman for the Grand Cipher and its crew. And it's been one hell of a ride. I've since formed a pact with good old Tiamat and made amends with the shipwright Primal who built the Grand Cipher, Noah. So, Zeka Grande Skydom might be uncharted territory, but my role remains the same. See our crew arrive safely, no matter the destination. And that includes Estalucia. Some folks might call reaching the end of the skies an impossible dream, but I ain't too worried. With the Grand Cipher as our wings, anything's possible. Call it a side effect of being a helmsman, but my ears tend to laser in on any talk of airships. Then again, damn near anybody could have heard this guy shouting.
No! No! You can't do this! She's still skyworthy! She can still fly!
The distraught man was making a scene outside. 3 seemingly unfazed onlookers surrounded him. Between all the belly aching, I pieced together the man's story. He was an engineer, was upset that an airship called the Nautilus was set to be decommissioned. His 3 friends, meanwhile, were telling him to see reason that an old ship like that would be more useful as scrap. Reminded me of the Port Breeze days, back when my own dreams seemed like unscalable walls. The 3 onlookers were a young helmsman, a young mechanic, and an older merchant. They presented a unified front against the engineer, countering each of his arguments threefold whenever he opened his mouth to protest. As much as I wanted to help the guy, the trio were speaking the truth. Repairing the damn thing would cost buckets of rupees, and you can't fix an airship on gumption alone. Trust me, I've tried. Them's the breaks, kid.
I turned to leave. None of my business, right? But dumb old me, I had to pause as my ears caught what he said next.
We made a pact, didn't we? Don't you remember? The Nautilus. You promised that we would take her to the skies.
He could barely hold it together. You could hear it in his voice, the desperation as he clung to a quickly fading dream. It was a feeling all too familiar to me.
I mean, sure, the Nautilus may be old, but she's got plenty of potential. She could easily outpace any other cargo ship in the fleet. At least 3 times faster!
Found the poor bastard blathering his woes at a tavern in Folca. The seat next to his happened to be conveniently open, so I took it. Without so much as asking my name, he launched into story after story. It was clear he still needed to vent. Apparently, he just recently started his career as an engineer, planned on restoring the Nautilus. It would revitalize the local economy, help Folca this, assist Timpil that. He went on and on, but I knew he wasn't going to feel better until he confronted the actual issue at hand. Don't get me wrong, I think it's great you want to help your home like this, but that's not the real reason you're upset, is it?
That obvious, huh? I made a promise to my friends. One day we'd fly our beloved Nautilus across the skies together.
But the ship in question was long past its heyday and had deteriorated beyond the point of conventional repair. Time is a cruel but patient mistress, and among the original Nautilites, only Kent had yet to accept reality. After he finished his explanation, silence fell between us. Well, until another man frantically stumbled into the tavern. I'd seen him somewhere before. Oh yeah, one of the naysayers from earlier, the merchant.
Somebody help! Anybody! Monsters are ransacking my precious cargo!
I was torn. Do my civil duty as a Skyfarer and save the cargo, or help this ass determined to crush the dreams of my newfound friend? So, I asked Kent.
What? Of course you should help him!
Not a moment's hesitation from the kid. I liked that. This would have been the perfect moment to ensure the continued survival of the Nautilus, at least in the short term. But despite that, Kent didn't think twice about helping his fellow man. Hell yeah, Kent. I'll see what I can do.
Well, another day, another dime.
According to the merchant, our destination should be around here. I just hope there's anything left to save. Let's get moving.
Go time!
Goblins? What the hell are they doing here?
Bring it! Have at 'em! Go time! That all?
They'll say we didn't warn you.
That all? Fire! Good saving this one! Fire in the hole! This is gonna burn! It's mine!
Not bad, if I say so myself. Now then, where were we?
It's all on the bullet!
That must be the cargo we're looking for. Cargo's safe and sound. Maybe. Looks like it's been rummaged through.
Watch out, Rackham! We've got goblins and vipers on our trail!
They'll pay more than that to dupe us.
Go time!
The tide rises.
Things are about to get dicey. Just don't let him get close to the cargo.
Heads up, people! Bring it! Sucks to be you!
There's still more of them!
Come on!
Stay sharp, everybody!
Crud! Healthy as a horse. That all? Trigger finger is itching. Bet it all on the bullet. Take that!
Spread your cups, my friends.
Beacon! Between the eyes! Bring it! That all? Between the eyes! Bring it! That all? Showtime! Bring it! Bring out the big guns! Lay it on him! Take that! Showtime! Take that! That all? Take that! Come on!
So the big shot finally decided to show up, huh? Well, you're going down like the rest of them.
This is...
You monsters screwed up big time today, because you chose to mess with the best crew to ever cross these skies.
Got a bullet for ya!
Ha! Not too bad. Not too bad.
Oh, you're a lifesaver. How could I ever thank you?
You want to thank someone? Thank him. I gestured toward Kent. The man's face filled with shame as the irony dawned on him.
So it was you, huh? Hey, listen. I'm sorry about earlier. I could have heard you out.
After the merchant left, I wanted to focus on the next goal at hand. Putting some wind back in the Nautilus's sails. So I proceeded to do some intelligent and, dare I say, brilliant thinking on the topic when Kent asked what I was talking about. Whoops, must have been thinking out loud again. You just wait and see.
We've received a special request.
How many times do I gotta say it? Getting parts to fix the Nautilus out here in the boonies is next to impossible.
I've never been good with women. My words never come out quite the way I mean for them to. I thought maybe Miss Mechanic would be on board, but... I probably shouldn't be doing this behind Kent's back anyway.
I'm telling you, I've tried everything. Sure, I'd love to see her fly again, but it's time to... get real. Right?
Hey, come on. That was against the rules. How was I supposed to keep a stern attitude against that blubbering mess? When I finally got a word in edgewise, I let her know I already had the parts she needed. Picked them up here and there, across Fanta Grande and Nala Grande. Here, this what you need? I'll cut you a deal.
Wait, how? Where in the skies did you find these?
Caught up in her excitement, she leapt at me. Whoa, not so close, Missy. Of course, she paid me no regard. It was the parts she had her eyes on.
Some modifications here and there, I could... Yeah. I can't believe it! The dream is alive!
Yep, the dream was alive. She didn't have to say it. The look on her face was enough. All that hubbub from earlier was nowhere to be found. After forking over the payment, she happily took the spare parts off my hands. She also made sure to plant a big fat kiss on my cheek before scurrying off. Sheesh, at least warn a guy beforehand, right? Women, I swear. In any case, the winds were starting to blow back in their favor.
Rackham, there you are. I've got huge news. Listen to this.
It was clear from Kent's smile that the repairs on the Nautilus were going smoothly, thanks to a mechanic friend of his. Well, ain't that something? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't impressed. Those parts weren't the easiest to work with. Not bad, Miss Mechanic.
Rackham, sir? My friend told me she got the parts from a traveling skyfarer. Had 3-day-old scruff and a little swagger to him. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Huh. Well, I keep my scruff in an elegant chin strap. Thank you very much. Not sure I sounded very convincing trying to play off his answer, but I'm a helmsman, not an actor. Ha! But just another performance or two, and the Nautilus would be skybound once more.
The Nautilus is skyworthy?
I wasn't sure which was greater, the helmsman's confusion or Kent's enthusiasm.
Yep. We've got one last bit of patching up to do, but she'll be ready before you know it. Isn't that exciting?
Unexpectedly, the helmsman's confusion shifted into something darker. I decided to pry. Yeah, we'll have you back at the helm in no time. Unless you're getting cold feet or something. Yep, hit the nail on the head. The look in his eyes was unmistakable. He feared the skies. Despite his attempts to hide it, his fists were balled up and trembling. I knew the signs well enough. It wasn't my place to snoop further. From his perspective, I was just a busybody trying to dredge up a dream he'd long laid to rest. What could I do anyway? This was something he had to deal with himself. But hey, if I got through it, anyone could. So I did what I could. I put my hand on his shoulder and gave him a sympathetic nod.